Chad Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
You have so many more fans than I do. You had like applause in that.
Well, first of all, full credit to Tax Time Forever. He's got a that's the name of he has a YouTube channel, and he has some pretty good videos on there. I should have linked that in the description. But yeah, he was kind enough after our last stream. He's like, "Here, I whipped this up for you." And I thought it was kind of neat. Were you guys able to hear that? Just curious.
I heard it. It probably worked. So, but what you need to do, so when you hit play, it immediately starts playing, right? There's no dead space. So what you need to do is throw that into a video editor, add about 5 seconds of just black screen, nothing. Because, and then what you'll do is you'll save that as an MP4. Then StreamYard allows you to have intros, and I forget what they call it. I have to look it up and figure out what they call it. But you just upload a short little video. Mm-hmm. And so then when you go live, what you could do is you hit play, then you go live. The time it takes to actually go live is eaten up by that 5 seconds of dead space. If it shows up early, that's fine. It's dead space. And then it plays, it ends, and then you automatically go live. You don't have to press any other buttons.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that StreamYard, how you can like upload it things. So I'll experiment with that and I'll get it.
Well, you're just beginning. You're still a rookie podcaster. You haven't reached the big leagues like my professional ass has.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, man, before I tell you about my day, how was yours?
It was frustrating. If you watched my previous video, I had to rant because now 2 nights in a row, my girlfriend and our dinner has been interrupted by unacceptable behavior. One was just a cackle of loud, obnoxious 38-year-old women. So that was bad. And then dinner tonight was all right until I started smelling piss because somebody like filled their Depends or something like that and didn't excuse themselves. And I had it. I'm just kind of, there's the dinner, you kind of want to sit and relax and enjoy dinner, right? You've worked all day. You want to be uninterrupted. You don't want to be agitated. And it seems Americans are becoming mosquitoes. They're just going to annoy you and piss you off no matter where you go. So my day was otherwise good. I worked out and went for a hike, the gym and the hikes. Yeah. And I'm tired.
Dude, I'm tired too.
Was it family stuff that exhausted you, or did you do actual physical activity?
All of the above. Let me tell you about my day. Yeah. So you guys, I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico right now. I'm visiting my parents for Christmas. I'm in my mom's sort of office, although it's a guest room. The lighting was very challenging in here.
You got it good. It looks really good, actually.
Good.
You got a really good lane. Yeah.
Man. So I got up and I thought, you know what? I'm feeling all right. It's, I had some coffee, and then at 10 a.m. I thought I'm going to go for a run because the weather is nice. Yeah. The sun is shining. Well, they have this, and I forget this every time I come here. Clary, what's different about this place compared to every other place I go running?
There's snow. No, wait, they got snow in Chicago.
Yes, but we are close to the mountains.
Oh, you are way up in altitude.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, and, it's always in the back of my mind, like, oh, this is going to be a hell of a run. This is going to be impossible. Man, it almost killed me today.
Do you know what the altitude is of Santa Fe?
It's probably, are we close to a mile high or?
You are well above it. You are 7,000 feet.
Really?
That's pretty high. That's like Mount Harney's Peak. So you were running at 7,000 feet, huh?
Yes. And oh man. And my little route here in my parents' neighborhood, there's parts that go uphill. Mm-hmm. So you combine that with the altitude, and let's just say I was all cocky. I'm gonna go, oh man. By the time I finished that run, I was like,
how many miles was it?
About 3.5.
Okay, so that's a fraction of what you normally run in Chicago.
No, I mean, it's kind of around when I normally run in Chicago, 3 to 5. But I mean, I went slow, much slower here. I had no choice.
Because when we went running, you kicked my ass in that run. I thought that was more than 3.5 miles.
Oh, that was probably about 5 miles. You know, I kind of
Okay.
took you. I wanted to give you the scenic tour, so I took you on a
Oh,
longer route. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that. Those were good times.
Yeah.
And then we did it again down in Texas. uh,
Yeah, you kicked my ass again down in Texas as well. That's right. Yeah.
I think you're in pretty good shape now, though. You know, with what you've
Not for
been doing.
running. Running and hiking are two different beasts, man. I mean, as you know, because when we did Harney's Peak, I mean, and I was pretty much head of the pack, right?
Yeah.
It's a different ball of wax. Running is different, and you beat my ass. Certainly on Flatlander stuff. But yeah, I'm sure our cardio is about the same, but there is more than a slight difference between running and hiking, and yeah, it is not the same. So you would probably kick my ass in running again because I don't run anymore. I just do the hiking.
Well, you beat me in hiking because the last time I hiked was with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was in May.
Well, and we were at
Um,
7,200 feet towards the end of it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I knocked the run out because at 11, I have one very good friend here, and I don't know if I ever told you this story. I think you know the story.
Cigar smoking guy?
The only reason I know him is because of who?
Me?
Because of you.
Oh.
Because when my parents first moved here, the guy, you know, I remember how we used to advertise the tax guide on your blog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this friend of mine who was a fan of yours, he saw, you know, that I was advertising there, and he happened to like call me like a few days before I was coming here for the first time in 2016, and so we chatted, and I go, by the way, where do you live? He goes, oh, I'm right outside of Santa Fe. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So we got together back in
Oh, cool. Yeah.
2016. Yeah. And so every time I come here, we hang out, and it's always so much fun. And so we got some brunch, and then we noticed that across the street from where we were having brunch was a brewery. This was at about 1 p.m. So we're like, you know, it might be a little bit early, but we don't get to see each other that often. So
And you
let's
ran earlier in the morning. You
sure.
deserved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Sure.
So everything was fine, and you know, he was up for it. So we go across there. We each have flights of beer, delicious. Then we get another pint because we weren't quite ready to leave. So we're settling up the tab. We're both kind of like, ooh, you know, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Although he was, you know, he has a better tolerance than I do. And so we noticed that this lady, we were at a bar. I mean, the place is
Mm.
pretty much ours because it was like, you know, 1, 2 in the afternoon. And there's this older lady, probably a little younger than my mom, so probably, you know, late 60s or something. And she's just there, and she keeps like, you know, smiling at us and, you know, kind of eavesdropping our conversation. And so
Uh,
finally we kind of let her in, you know, we're like, well, how you doing? I'll spare you the nitty gritty on this, but she just proceeded to go into this rant for about half an hour. I almost wish you could have heard this. She got stood up by some guy on a dating app
oh, that's
at
too
this
bad.
place.
That's just
And
too bad. Oh.
and so I'm sitting here, I was fascinated by a woman her age that was
Mm.
using the dating apps, you know, because I'm like, really? Tell me more, which app and everything. And so she told the story about how the guy thought it was a different day, and I'm like, "Oh, sure, thought it was
Sure.
a different day." And so she was ranting about how crappy the dating apps are and how, "Oh, it sucks to date now." And, you know, my buddy is married, and, you know, I've
Mm.
got my situation under control for now. And so she's just ranting about it, rattling off all the dating apps that she's using. And so finally I'm like, "Well, you probably have other dates lined up, right? You know, it sounds like it's working for you." "Oh yeah, I've got one tomorrow. I've got another one on Sunday,
Oh,
and I've got."
okay.
So
Yeah.
even women who are about 70 have no shortage of dudes trying to date
The
them.
I know the red pill community in general, like, oh, once they hit the wall, it's like,
No,
yes, but there's always a guy 5 to 10 years older that will go ahead and date her. And then the polling data shows uh I think it's 53 or 55, an odd number in the 50s. Men want to get married twice as much as women do after that age. Now, of course, you could argue that's boomer stuff talking. Okay, fine, that might change in the future. But this idea that old women are alone, no, they can still, they only get lonely once they get into the nursing home and the men are dead. But yes, women have, and she did get stood up once, but she had 5 or 6 lined up later, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she was kind of incredulous about it. She's like, "I can't believe it." But at the same time, I have to admit, she was kind of cool. Like she was kind of
Yeah.
interesting to
Okay,
hear about
cool.
all this.
Was she a widow or what?
She did mention that she had grandchildren, so I have to assume, something like that, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, I was like, "Well, do you know?" And I gave her my mom's name because my mom seems to know everybody in this town,
Sure.
age 65 or above, but she didn't know my mom.
Yeah.
So we left there, and my buddy and I were like, "Well, let's get some coffee because we probably ought to sober up a little."
Yeah, yeah.
So we got some coffee, and Santa Fe truly has some attractive women, which I did not know that. I've been here a few
You are in
times.
the best looking town in New Mexico. I mean, if
Yeah,
they're gonna yeah, no, there you are. I mean, it's that's where I had to do an analysis of Roswell, New Mexico, and Santa Fe last week.
Roswell.
Yeah, I got paid $500 to do it. So I did a big municipal analysis. Yeah, Santa Fe is basically as good as it gets.
It's I and I didn't really notice that before, but yeah, we noticed it at this coffee shop we went to. And then my buddy, who speaks Spanish, he's like Athen.
Mm,
He can just sit there and sweet talk anybody. And this girl was just eating it up. And I'm like, man. So we go from a kind of a bitter 70-year-old gal who was cool, but very upset about the dating market to
yeah.
now we're shifting to a 23-year-old who wasn't just being polite. Like she was genuinely like, into my married buddy. So that,
Mhm.
that was pretty interesting. And, so then I get home and I'm like hopped up on booze, caffeine, and then my mom goes, "Oh, we're going out to dinner with their neighbors down the
Mm.
road here above the age of 70." And I'm just like, "Oh, mom, I got to do a stream later with Clary. I don't know if I'm up for this." But I ended up going because it
You're
was
a good son, Chad.
I'm a
You're a
good
good
son.
son. Yeah.
So we go to Outback Steakhouse, which was delicious,
Yeah.
hey,
What's wrong with Outback? I like
nothing.
Outback. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. But it turns out that the older guy of this couple, I was sitting next to him. I would have thought it was a boomer, lefty or whatever, kind of annoying. Dude was the most based badass mofo. He was just, dude, he was just like us, and he was just like he's talking like us. It was just pretty cool.
Does your dad know? I mean, like,
He knows, and
oh,
my dad my dad did kind of warn me. He's like, "Yeah, he's obviously we're not on the same page with everything." And I'm like, "I think I know what that means." And so that was actually really cool. And they had a nice sirloin, and yeah.
good, good. Speaking of Mr. Elkins, did you give him my advice or ask him about whether he turned off the news and went out for a walk?
I did, and he just
Did he?
laughed because
Oh,
he
he
thinks
left.
you're the most hilarious. Like, I don't know
Okay.
how you charmed my parents like this, but
Because I visited, remember that whole 8-year period you adamantly refused to visit your own parents? And on my trek to Vegas with my truck, I would stop and visit your parents in Santa Fe.
yeah.
That's how I did it. Yeah. I mean, I'm also nice when I can be. And yeah.
I mean, those were good times, I have to say.
I kind of miss them. It's kind of unfortunate I got a vehicle down here now where we just fly.
Yeah.
I don't visit your folks. I don't visit Albuquerque, Adam. Great One ain't in Fort Collins anymore. I used to do that I-25 stretch the entire time, but now it's just it's moot and obsolete. So I have to physically go and visit, make a dedicated trip if I want to go visit them again.
Mhm. Well, they did make mention. They're like, "Well, how come, Aaron never comes through here anymore?" And I basically was like, "Oh, he kinda doesn't have to."
Yeah. Did you, I
So,
mean, it's not that I don't want to, it's just I
yeah.
don't, yeah, it would be an annual pilgrimage, but the pilgrimage is on a Spirit Airlines flight now.
Yeah, I did explain. I was like, "Well,
Okay.
they know your situation." So I'm like, "He just doesn't really come through here anymore."
They could come
So,
visit me.
uh, don't be surprised if it happens one day.
Okay. All right. Well,
Uh, well, before I get to some chat stuff, anything else interesting about the day besides some
no, I,
frustrating
I don't
fighting?
know. There's good news because I'm like literally caught up on everything, and it's already been happening a little bit even before we left South Dakota. But dude, the reason I hiked and went to the gym is because I had the time to do it. So it
Mhm.
was awesome. I'm able to sleep in. I've been getting 9 hours sleep past 3 days in a row, which is spectacular.
Yeah?
I've been riding my motorcycle. I was on Mike Sartain's show. So fine. Everyone criticized, you need to back off. You need to loosen up. And now if you thought you had a nice, kind thing you said about me on the texting where you said I had a pretty good life.
Yeah.
If you think my life was good beforehand, you just wait now, because all this shit is done. That now it may get to the point I only do half work and then have fun in video games and working out. And so this should be able to maintain itself going forward.
I often wonder why you work so much when you don't have to.
No, but it's now I really won't have to. It's no different. Do you pay for it up front or do you amortize it? There's a certain amount of work that you can do.
Yeah,
I want to do
that's
it
fair.
right. I want to do it all up front, because then and another thing is, okay, if let's say I have 4 hours a day to do whatever I want in the daytime, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that allow me to do? Well, maybe I could go for a motorcycle ride around out to Pahrump. Maybe I can get a hike in and play a little bit of video games. If I can do it where I get 7 hours a day off, I can accrue it, and now I can, work one day and then take 5 days off. Now what can I do, Chad?
You can do whatever you want.
Be Atham. Look at the map.
I was just entering the chat here. We all aspire to be more.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yes. What's up, Ethan? Yeah.
So what can I do with 5 days?
You can travel, leave.
I can get Telescope Peak. I can get Yosemite. I could visit our idiot friend up in Reno and spend a couple days up there.
You do that. You tell me. I'll be
right. There. I can get Utah. I can hit Moab. I can Arizona. And so now instead of, I got to get back home, no, I can be really, 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 really free. And because there's no housework, there's nothing left to do.
Yeah. And I was telling, my buddy, he was just kind of like, yeah, I watch Clary's stuff. Is he happy? Is he doing well? I say, I think he's pretty happy. But there may be still some things to tweak. Yeah.
There's stupid people. Here's the other thing. Normal people aren't on this philosophy. So it would be like your mom. Okay. Your mom's a wonderful woman, but she's a mom. Why don't you sit, relax? I had another friend. Yeah. A colleague, it was Christmas time like this, and he was on a strict diet. He wanted to lose weight because he was overweight. And his mom's like, well, why don't you have a cookie? No, Mom, I can't have a cookie. Well, you can have one cookie. People don't get it. And they do not see the big picture. And people are, how do you do it, Clary? I don't know. Wish we all could be you. Must be nice. It's like, no, it takes doing all your work up front to be done with everything. And now it's just videos and Mark, I got to do taxes, but I'm going to spend, I got to spend a month. I get to spend a month in Asia, and it's going to be like this in theory for the rest of my life. So there's no more fixing up the house or chores or and most people never get to this stage. They're, I got to fix this. I got to fix that. The lawnmower ain't working. And they're like, no, everything is ship-shape in my world. And now if you think I was free and having fun before, you just watch the next year happen.
And you aren't even 50 yet, which is
nope, not even 50.
Yeah.
And I know people who are doing this before they're 30 because they were given the right information when they were younger men. And so, I think you're going to see a lot more of this as guys kind of more intelligently spend their time in their teens, 20s, and 30s.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was just telling my buddy earlier this today, I'll never retire. I will do taxes till the day I die. But I'll stop doing, instead of doing like, 250 tax returns or something, that'll go down to 20 or 30. That's how it works. So,
no, here's another thing. People don't see all the background. Like, you got to get up and you went for a run. Then you have to deal with your folks, which you love. But these are all obligations. People don't see, they just see, Chad does his taxes 4 months a year. And that's it. It's like, no, there's a lot more that goes into it. So.
Yeah, that's something that I try to give people a realistic understanding of. It's not like we work for a few months and then it's like school's out for the rest of the year. That's just not how it works.
No.
So, all right. First, a few quick shout outs in the chat. Then we'll get some super chats. Nick is Steve. What is up, man?
Soon.
Soon. And oops. We get that there. A few other people. So look who is in the chat.
Oh my goodness! Look
How
at
you
there's
doing,
some. How you
kids?
doing, Chris?
Why you been a stranger, man? I mean, you hit me up a couple weeks ago, but give us a holler. Let us know what's going on. And then greetings from Chicago, man. I'm glad I'm not there right now. I just gotta say it's nice to get away.
Why? What's up there? Is a crime happening more than normal, or?
Oh, probably. Oh, the mayor was belly aching about the migrants going up there, and I'm like, this is
No,
exactly what you preach
That's
every
what he
week.
wanted. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
And
Talk about
he was a teacher, right? Very intelligent, highly
yeah,
respected. He was a teacher, right?
yeah. Dude, this guy is so much worse than the last mayor, and I'll leave it at that. Um,
I can't think of a town that deserves them more. What's sad
seriously.
is what's sad, and by the way, I'm being 100% honest about this. The migrants are probably better on average than your average caliber of a Chicagoan. Just so you Chicago people know, you guys are shit compared to these immigrants coming in. I'm against the immigrants, but you guys are fucking assholes and Marxists. These people actually maybe want to work a little bit, but you know,
What it was is all the people in a certain area of the city were upset that some of their give me dats were going to someone else.
get
And
a job. Get a
yeah,
job.
it was just disgraceful. Anyway, few more people. Yes, EAC. I wanted to run this by you quick, Clary. Do you know if there are ever issues where those in another area can't access super chats? Like there's no button. Have you ever heard that before?
It might, I haven't, but I'm sure that with all the 180 countries that exist, they have different rules. And I'm sure it probably even pertains to international tax law or exchanges between wherever they are and YouTube. So maybe YouTube has disabled super chats in certain countries.
Okay. EAC, I'm pretty sure is in the US, but I think if you're using a VPN, that might be doing something with that. So, yeah, you don't have to.
That might be it. It might be considered pop-up too. Because a
Yeah.
lot of those VPNs will get rid of advertisers and pop-ups. That might be it.
Okay. And then, Claire, do you know this? Do you know Matt Deep CPA?
Maybe. I
He,
don't, it's not ringing a bell.
yeah, he's a good dude. You should see his powerlifting on Twitter. He's another CPA, and I'm excited he's in here because I've been meaning to get him on the show. So, Matt, we may bring you on some other time to chat.
Well, with Matt and then who's the enrolled Parker, the enrolled
yeah.
agent. And then who else do you know who's the accountant? Maybe we could get our IRS agent in the field, right?
Oh, I would love to get. He's kind of got something to lose with that. So
No. Here's my question. So if you got all these guys together, could you guys finally take down the much hated Brian Kim with the combined forces? Could you defeat the evil Brian Kim?
Brian Kim, I've done such a 180. I really see he's gotten a little bit more like opinionated instead of just going, this is the way things are. He's actually kind of like disgusted with the federal government and everything. And I'm like, I'm so aligned with Brian Kim with clear value tax, you guys. I think you know that. But I mean, he's got good opinions.
You know what he made?
What'd he do?
He made fuck you money, and now he's saying fuck you. He's got his, because he saved it. He didn't go piss it away on a Ferrari, but he saved it. Invest, yeah. So I bet you he's got fuck you money because he doesn't do tax practice anymore.
No,
right?
he sold all those. Like he's a full-time, as far as I know, he's a full-time YouTuber, and good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, good for him.
Do you remember Matt Tran?
Yes.
He used to do Engineered Truth, and he doesn't do it anymore. I think he lives in the Philippines, and he sells shoes. He has a shoe manufacturer based in Vietnam, and he sells shoes around the world. And he too, I think he made his FU money and didn't want to be in the West anymore. And he says, nope, I'm out of here. And he went overseas.
Well, speaking of overseas, so he's in China. That's probably why.
That's what,
Okay.
No,
yeah, sorry, EAC, but that's not going to cut it probably. And shout out, I know you know the real Uncle Hector, so I want to give him a shout out. And you don't have to read the super chat here. I just think Ray John never changed, man.
Never changed. No, that's not even a super chat.
No, but
what are you giving free? What are you doing? Helping out people for free here. Look at this stuff.
On that note,
reading people's comments for free. Who the hell are you? King Crab, $2. This is the best podcast in the inner sphere.
Well, thanks, Crab. I did a stream with Crab. It was probably about a month ago now about bookkeeping. So, and I needed that. I needed more bookkeeping material outside of tax. So,
Okay.
thanks, Crab. And he also did one more here.
Crab for $5. There's a shortage of bookkeeping. Applied to 75 jobs, got 50 at 2/3.
Damn.
Jobs thinks 4 hours a week of diversity training for $15 in an office. In office, a perk. Laugh out loud. Yeah, no. Here's this is exactly what I've said for years. If you have a real degree, you can say no. I'm not doing diversity training.
Yeah.
Because if they say, well, then you can't get the job. That's fine. I got 49 other interviews, and not for $15 an hour. To hell with that.
God, I would love to just like shove that in someone's face. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, then you can't have the job. All right, fine.
Okay, fine. Bye. You can't have my labor.
Yeah.
Let me know what it's like having an accounting practice with no accountants. That's one thing we really ought to mention it more, because I guess people are stupid and you'd be told this, especially the younger we're getting, or not the younger we're getting, but as the generations pass, there's fewer and fewer men out there that have kids. No man should be, all men should just be like, no, I'm not doing diversity and inclusion training. No, I'm not. Okay, fine. Fire me. I'm done. And then it'd be no different than, well, you've seen it happen a couple times where they say, oh, you got to come back to work. And people like, into the office and like, no, we're not doing it. Like, okay, we're just kidding. We're just kidding. Like all it would take is 1 year of corporations having half their employees, and they'd be like, oh, we are so up shit creek. It's like, yeah, you are. It's like, no, we're not doing it anymore. It just take some time off. Go collect welfare. Fuck these people.
Did it to yourself. That's all I got to say. Always got to give Bacon a shout out, because Bacon, you're the man.
The goddamn Bacon on YouTube.
Bacon, if you're there tomorrow night, maybe I can join you while I'm down here. So, all right. What is the next super chat?
The Y2A problem, $5. Is it normal to submit an application, get a response, then never hear from them again? Yeah, that's
the default.
I've had that happen like 3 times in the last. Okay, Chad, who's in charge of HR?
Incompetent people with no
What
skills.
type of incompetent people? Let's just be honest. What is 90, 96, 95% of HR?
It's either females or liberals.
Okay, well, females. How many times have women said they're going to show up on a date and they don't?
Many times, although my experience today earlier was eye-opening.
Well, okay. My point is the exact same thing. You can just expect HR to flake like dates, because I'm sorry, ladies, you are women and you flake. You don't honor your word. So tell me I'm wrong. Tell me in the chat, like if you've never had HR or a company say, we'll get back to you, we really like you, and then you even get a job offer and never hear from them again. Blondes.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the DEI thing or whatever, I almost want to find a way to take it just to see how horrible it is, like find if there's a way to do that.
Do you really need to know what it is? It's going to be institutions and things outside of everyone's control have resulted in not necessarily conscious bias against different people of different races and genders and all that other stuff. And there's strength in having a diversity of opinion and and only white men can, only white people can be racist, because you need power and privilege. A minority cannot be discriminatory or bigoted because they're not in a position of power. It's all Marxist slop.
Yeah.
And if you had the slightest bit of integrity, you'd say, shove that shit up your ass. I'm not working for you. But you all signed up for mortgages and cars and student loans, and now you're their bitch. So now you get to be falsely accused of being whatever, homophobe, sexist, etc. And you got to suck it up. But for younger people, just quiet quitting, and they're not, especially the men, not going to college. You guys don't have houses, you don't have mortgages. It's going to come be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. It would probably just irritate me, and then I'll give up after 10 minutes or something. So.
Well, you kind of got out of it because of sexism.
Yeah, I did.
And the Big Four is having trouble finding people, right?
Big time.
Yeah, well, some of that is telling males and white people that they're bigoted. Just, not all of it, but it's like, fuck
very,
off.
very quick side note about the Big Four. Just a couple hours ago when I was in the car, I was reading an article about apparently Big Four is doing all these layoffs. And I'm like, well, that's confusing, because there's a talent shortage in the industry. And then they're laying off who, if not employees? They're laying off partners. They are axing. They're getting rid of partners. Yeah.
How do you get rid of partners? The
You vote them
owners of the
out.
firm.
Vote them out. They get voted out. I mean, I'm not going to say I understand how they're doing it, but the article was very clear. Like, Big Four are axing partners. You can get rid of a
Why?
partner.
So, okay, let me understand this from an accounting
See if I
perspective.
can find that. Big Four.
They have to buy these partners out, right, of their shares. You can't just axe a partner and.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. Big Four. It was a Wall Street Journal article. Big Four accounting firms overhired, and now they're laying off dozens of U.S. partners, not employees, just partners. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they are doing it somehow.
Okay, but from a legal and accounting perspective, you can't. I can't. Let's say I own 10,000 shares of IBM. Technically, I'm a partner of IBM. They can't just say, "Well, you're no longer a shareholder," without giving me compensation for my 10,000 shares, right?
Right. I do think it has to be something like that. Damn it. Wall Street Journal put it behind a paywall. Or no, they didn't.
Okay, let's talk. I know this isn't your topic, but I'm very
that's
interested
okay.
in.
I'm
Let's talk
versatile.
about it.
It's all tied in. Here,
Yeah.
let me share my screen so you can see this then.
Are we going to be able to see the font even?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Okay.
Entire screen. Will you tell me? I can hear.
All I see is the head. I just see the title. I don't see the rest. Just go ahead and read it for all of us. Go ahead, scroll down.
Okay.
For all of us.
Big Four, Wall Street Journal. This was actually from a few days ago, December 15th. Big Four accounting firms overhired. Now they're starting to lay off partners. And then it just says higher interest rates and weaker economic conditions lessen demand for certain professional services.
All right.
An Ernst & Young senior partner, during a call with some of the accounting firm's U.S. partners and staff, delivered a sober message usually reserved for clients. It's time to cut costs. Quote, "This has been a difficult week as we took needed action to address resource challenges in our business where growth has notably slowed or where we have excess capacity," said Dave Berg, EY's head of America's cybersecurity, in the webcast call on Thursday. The accounting firm is laying off dozens of U.S. partners, the Wall Street Journal reported this week, a rare tactic that extends ongoing job cuts to the top echelon of one of the Big Four firms. And it wasn't just EY, it was other firms.
Yep, other Big Four firms, right?
Yeah, that followed the roughly 5% cuts to KPMG's U.S. workforce this summer, which also included partners. So it's probably partners and managers who do the least amount of work, obviously.
Yeah, could be.
While EY, KPMG, and Deloitte have collectively laid off thousands of U.S. workers this year. By the way, those are not people in audit or tax. Those are people in advisory, like the real waste.
Oh, the consultants.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Partner layoffs are far less common in the industry. Here you go. Firms generally have to buy out the partner's equity and make an additional payment based on the person's seniority and tenure when they leave, said Tom Rodenhauser, managing partner at Kennedy Research reports. The Big Four, EY, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, had a combined 15,700 U.S. partners in 22, including 3,600 at EY and 2,344 at KPMG. Consulting partners and managing directors are also needed to drum up new business when the economy rebounds, said blah, blah, blah. But the less than expected demand for consulting and transaction services is cutting into profit. The Big Four accounting firms depend on their consulting businesses for 43% to 66% of their global revenue, depending on the firm, a situation that has devolved over the last 2 decades. Let me call time out here. Clary, there were a lot of people I went to grad school with that once they got their MBAs, they were bragging about these consulting positions. They're like, oh, I'm going to be at a Big Four, which I was too. I was going to be in tax, but they were bragging about these advisory services. And at the end of the day, a lot of them ended up getting cut because they were just like sitting there on the bench. Like, you have to be worth your while being at these places.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a 2-decade-long trend downward in consulting. And I'm finally glad to see it. I'm shocked at how glacially slow corporate America is to respond to reality. Once I figured out that especially when Anderson Consulting bid it. Do you remember when they did the Enron and WorldCom and all that? Then you knew they were all. But look, no offense to you, I'm sure some consultants out there do actually have industry expertise expertise, 15, 20 years experience. You're the guy or the gal to go to, and I get it. But that is not some fuckwit who just got their MBA, who's never worked in the real world, and you just hired her because she's a cute set of tits and you can sell more consulting services. And honestly, the consulting, I don't know what these people consult on.
Mhm.
If like, oh, if you should merge, oh, you should break apart, you need to whatever, how much of it you go talk to the employees, you sum up the employees don't have the balls to tell to your face, and then you just ignore them anyway. Someone even said, who worked in the field, in my chat room, he was saying a lot of times corporations will bring on consultants so that management has someone to blame in case a strategy they want to implement doesn't work.
Absolutely.
So well,
yes.
It wasn't us. It was Ernst & Young or whatever, Accenture and all that. But it's all hogwash. It's all hogwash. And so I don't know, maybe times are getting tight. Interest rates went up. Companies are cutting down on expenses. Like, look, we could do this ourselves. So I think not the whole house of cards is coming down, but people are really starting to realize these guys are not worth what, $600, $700, $800 per hour build.
Oh, more
than that, really?
Oh, yeah. Very, very quick story time. Again, my graduating class, of the people that got these plum, advisory / consulting positions with the Big Four. Clary, this is obviously do you think it went to qualified people, or do you think it went to the 20% female variety in our MBA?
Affirmative action and connected assholes. That's where it went. It went to nepotists and affirmative action hires. That's where it went.
I'm talking the most worthless. I was in projects with a few of them. Some of the most worthless, idiotic, stupid, ditzy, just were some of them good looking? Yes. Were they hired because of that? Yes. And that yes. So that's why I don't want people to suffer misfortune, but that's why I kind of have to smile when I'm reading articles like this, because I always felt like that they were so overrated, those advisory.
They are. I'm just shocked. When did Anderson Consulting go under? Like, that was 2001. That was 20 years ago.
2003, yeah.
Well, so maybe the article is correct that there's been they said 2 decades, right?
Yeah,
People
they said
are slowly starting to realize these asshats with their MBAs just don't know jack.
Yeah.
I just wish they could have figured it out in a year and we would never have MBA programs again.
I hate MBAs. And listen to this. And I just rest in peace, bozos, long live the CPAs. They will get laid off. These advisory people, these consultants, they'll get laid off, right? They don't have any certifications.
No.
So, again, CPA, EA, if you lose a job, you're going to get another one because of the certs that you have. So just want to throw that in there again.
So this is just a decrease in consulting. They delineate between accounting partners and consulting partners.
Yeah, it has something to do with that. And, like the article was saying, like, consulting can be a cash cow because they're billing. I mean, they're billing outrageously anyway, but you can bill even higher for consulting.
Well,
right?
Especially if the girl's got a nice set of tits, of course. She's from.
I'm telling you, some of the stupidest.
Chad, you do know I majored in finance. You do know I worked in banking. You know realtors. I happen to run into a couple realtors because there's real estate developer. You meet the realtors. Guess what? The dude, bro, wannabe entrepreneur, failed businessman always had as a realtor.
Oh yeah,
a hot piece of ass. It was never the smart nerdy chick who knew what she was doing. It was just some hot piece of ass.
Yeah, it's really something. I almost feel like, if you're a very attractive woman and you don't want to do OnlyFans, just become a realtor or something similar.
Yeah, but okay, what happens here? And I'm not to defend these people; they're all lazy people, but what happens when the bottom falls out? Like MBAs are hosed. You're not finding a job with an MBA. That's been the case for at least a decade. That is the most overrated piece of shit. Most realtors fail. This whole idea that, I'll just get an advanced degree with an MBA and then I'll go, because no, that doesn't happen. Does anyone pay attention to you? Does anyone respect your boundaries?
You can hear the TV out there anyway.
But when they go get their MBA, they think they're going to get by on marketing, bro, and that. Dude, when the market comes into a real recession or just interest rates go up in this time, you're unemployed and you're not going to find a job. It just isn't going to happen. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't feel bad for them. I just don't. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then it's not a political. It's not like they're going after white males for
No.
partners yet. Anyway,
No.
it just happens to be the consulting division.
Yeah, because I mean, you actually still kind of need some tax and I suppose auditing partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the consultants, good riddance.
No.
Getting back, thank you for that sidetrack because I thought it was worth discussing.
We
So
learned
back to the
something today.
super
We
chats,
learned about
absolutely. Yeah.
Monero Mateo, $2. The bros are back. Yes,
Good to
we
see
are.
you, man.
My truth, the king. We can't all be like Cappy and Chad, hiking and drinking. Yeah, we can't all be like,
Yeah.
I miss my drinking days. Those were fun.
Honestly, man, after today, I'm like, this is why drinking's not my vice anymore. You notice I don't have anything now, you know?
No, I noticed. No days off. $2. Have a happy Christmas. Happy Cappy Christmas. We will no days off. We will.
Yeah. And Crab, thanks for
King Crab, $2. This is why I started my own business, 1099 for the one. Yeah, dude. And now this is bright though, especially for the accountants out there. Your future is bright. You won't have to work for these asshole corporations. I do believe these large corporations are going down, man. They may not go belly up, but the sheen is gone. Like, have you seen what's happening at Harvard?
Oh, weren't they trying to fire the president or
the president, and then the Hamas thing and all this other stuff? And then you realize, like, dude, I remember in the 80s, Harvard was like, whoa, Harvard, that meant something. Now it's like, no, every established and prestigious institution is got shit on their face. They are not what they used to be. And now you're not going to convince people to work for the Big Four. Who wants to work for Morgan Stanley?
I'm trying to talk people out of the Big Four, but I mean, you know, maybe for a year.
Yeah, but people are fine. The word's getting around. Whatever was prestigious in the 80s and 90s is old hat. People are figuring it out. They're not, I mean, really, who's going to hire someone from Harvard unless you're a truly nepotistic connected firm that doesn't get by on work, but, like, you know, you got links to the president or something. The meat and bones of meat and potatoes of the economy, those type of companies are not going to be hiring from Harvard or Yale anymore.
And that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Crab, you're on fire tonight.
King Crab, $2. By the way, just started applying this week for the job. Laugh out loud.
More jobs, huh? Oh, hey, Chase.
Chase Robidoux, $5. Can't say I'm ready for my first busy season. Merry Christmas, chatting Cappy.
Well, Chase, let me tell you, I've been through about, more than 10, but on my own, 10 busy seasons. I'm not ready for it. Next month it'll be here. I'm never ready for it, but you know what? You get used to it. So you'll enjoy the first one, because just remember, it'll never be as bad as that first one.
Choose your clients like you would your woman. Wisely.
Exactly. Oh, I don't know if I can actually see the super sticker.
You can, not through
not through this.
I guarantee it's Mexican poops. It's always, maybe there's a crazy rabbit, maybe there's a crazy raccoon, but it's always crazy at Mexican poops with Atham.
All right. Well, thank you, Atham. I'm going to put this up because he literally is not allowed to leave a super chat, so I'll read it. He wanted to leave one. From EAC, Chad, I'm considering paying for a program by Mark Kohler, CPA attorney, how to develop a tax advisory practice and get reduced tax preparation practice. Have you heard of such programs? Is it worth it? So Clary has been recommending I put together a course for how to start your own tax practice. And so what he's saying is he wants to get more into the advising and not the preparing. I've always thought that they go hand in hand when it comes to taxes. My only thought is this may be worthwhile taking because there is such thing called tax resolution, where you don't prepare. You just come in when people get notices, do offers and compromise. It might be worthwhile, EAC.
I would also think, because he mentions the law side of us, he's also an attorney. I'd imagine there's estate planning. Like, there's a whole legal side that you're unaware of because you're an accountant. A lot of times they know you got to talk to a tax attorney. So I'm wondering if that kind of straddles both what he's talking about. I think it might be worth it.
I think so.
As long as it's not too expensive. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to hurt.
So EAC, we've exchanged emails before. Hit me up. We'll chat about this because this is interesting.
It's better than getting a degree in women's studies. So yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to Parker. Good to see you, man. Parker, give me an update when you get a chance. It doesn't sound like there's been many changes, but let me know. Clary, I had this same question. I keep forgetting to ask you about it. Speaking of hot realtors.
She's not a realtor. She's not a real. She has a real job. I won't mention what because I don't want people bothering her.
Oh, okay.
She's doing good. Yeah, she's doing very good actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she's doing well in all aspects, financial, familial, all that. I gave her a little bit of guff over her latest boyfriend. I'm like, what's her name? Or is that a guy or something? Like, he's like really pretty. He was all put together. He was like, like a really put together Troy Francis. I'm like, is that a guy or a girl?
I know she's too busy now, but I miss her popping into the chats every now and then.
Yeah, the reason because she is busy. Yeah. So, but it is good to see a good person doing well, and we're very happy for her. Yeah.
And speaking of good people, Jeff, good to see you, man.
Dark Man Jeff.
Good to see you. Get started on that. And yeah, like I said, you guys do it going down these tracks. Just keep me posted. And we'll talk.
You know what? In 2 to 3 in easily a fraction of the amount of time we've known Dark Man Jeff, like 2 years from now, he's gonna have his CPA and sitting pretty, and he too will be able to coast and go travel in Utah and Arizona and wherever else he'd like to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Jeff, keep me posted. And Parker, thank you. Yeah, send me an email. Okay, that is all of the super chats.
All right.
So, Clary, you have heard me say about a zillion times, and I have even said it tonight, there is a talent shortage in the accounting industry.
Yes.
Okay? We are here. I found this funny article where it shows people's pictures, and I'm going to share my screen. You'll see the pictures, and I'm going to say, of the people you can see, who do you think has a good suggestion on how to, attract talent, and who might not have such a good
I like this idea. So we're doing physiognomy.
Yes.
Physiognomy, right.
I will say almost everybody who you're going to see here actually did have a good suggestion, but there were a couple that I'm just like, you dumb such and such. So
is this like that one gal? Remember, she had no experience in accounting, and she was talking about how accountants could whatever lead. It was more female cred, but it was a feminist. And then you looked at her background; she had like a degree in journalism and theater or some other bullshit.
She looks like it too.
Yeah, she stage be reinforced with steel for her.
We are going to see a little bit of that here.
Okay, all right.
Probably won't be too hard for you to figure out who is expressing these opinions. Before we get started, though, I just want to know, off the cuff of your chest, like, what do you think they ought to do, in your opinion,
for the shortage?
For the shortage, yeah.
Are we talking a shortage of accountants or CPAs?
You can do both. Like, pick whichever one you have an idea for.
Okay. They should get rid of the ridiculous education requirements to sit for the CPA. Yes. You should make that you don't have to have any education requirements. You either pass it or you don't. Go back to the way it was.
Yes.
Right? That would help. I would then also do strong encouragement, whether you're an employer or somebody who wants CPAs, you could always pay for people to get their accounting degree, either through Western Governors University or a cheap online alternative. You could allow people to work remotely, so they have to come down to your dumbass office that you pissed away way too much money on office rent expense.
Yes.
And you could, now, I'm no economist, but you could pay more and that might attract more employees. I don't know if it will work, so I might want to try it. And then you could also have in-house training to, instead of like bachelor's required, master's preferred, how about you seek out some high schoolers, put together a high school program, say we have a 1-year program, you come in, we're only taking very select people, and we'll get you up to snuff, and you would give them an actual certification that they could put on their resume that would carry about the same weight. That would be, if the Big Four could really do a lot to help young people, where we all recognize this as the equivalent to a bachelor's degree. And now young people don't have to go to college, and now more people can get that certification. So you increase the supply of skilled labor into your industry. Are those pretty good ideas?
Those are excellent ideas. And frankly, you covered a lot of what I'm about to show you here. So they're all pretty good ideas.
All right.
So why don't we just go ahead and do it? Oh, and for the record comment, these are, for what it's worth, and I looked up some backgrounds, these are actually legit industry people. Like these aren't
Okay.
stupid journalists, people on X or Twitter with 63 followers or anything like that.
Right,
So
right.
this is legit. So I'll go ahead and share the screen again so we can see how some of them look, because we want to judge people by how they look.
I do. I want physiognomy. We're going to go judge solely people on looks because there's actually validity to it.
Okay. And you guys let me know if you want me to take Clary and I out, if you want to see their faces a little bit better, but we'll see how this goes. So as you can see, this is from Accounting Today. It was an article yesterday. I actually read it on my phone when I was on my flight here, and I'm like, you know what? This would be a good show. Let's talk about.
All right, let's go through it. Let's take it.
All right, let's do this. I'm gonna slowly scroll so you can see the pictures, and I want you to tell me who you want to start with, and then we'll go.
Should we go one by one? Because I can't read what they're writing, so I don't know.
I don't want you to read what they're writing.
No, I can't read what they're writing. It's too small.
I want you to look at them and tell me who you think.
Who I want to start with?
Yeah. In fact, let me just scroll back up.
Okay, just
we start.
Slowly scroll. You're giving me a seizure.
Okay.
Okay. There's a Karen. There's a minority Karen. There's a nerd.
Yeah.
Keep going. Oh, there's the nerd female.
Oh yeah.
There's dude bro.
Dude bro.
There's young dude bro. Oh, there's Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
That looks like a real accountant.
Yeah.
There's your diversity height. There's your black Karen. That one. Keep going. I want to see if there's.
Looks like Joy Reid. Okay. There's the boomer.
That looks like the partner boomer who's gonna come to the office. There's the got hired because she's hot. Real nerd, real accountant. Oh God, no, no. Keep growing. Legit. Yeah. Okay, so that's all of them, huh?
That's all of them. I'll scroll it. Sorry. I want to say again, most of the people actually had. You might be a little bit surprised, but I'm telling you, there was some dumb stuff.
Well, we're going only on physiognomy,
yes,
so I'm going based on true bias. And so let's scroll down again. Let's go slowly.
Let's start.
Can I start with him?
Sure, and look at his name if you can read it.
Gary something.
Boomer. His name is Boomer. His name is Gary Boomer.
Oh, is his name Boomer? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say his name does fit him. He is he's fat. All right.
Yes.
So this guy has no discipline. He's late. Fat people are lazy unless you have the thyroid problem because you lack self-control. So this guy skeezed and schemed. He, by the grace of God, got an MBA and went into accounting. But he is high-level senior management, possibly partner, and he's the one that's going to do. We're part of corporate culture and get together. And I want you in the office. This guy is out of touch with the young people, and he's going to give you general boomer advice. We need more government programs. So how close am I?
Not too far off. By the way, you all can't really see this, but his name is Boomer. The name of his company is Boomer Consulting.
Oh, he doesn't work for a Big Four.
No. These are not Big Four people. But I mean, why would you? I know his name is Boomer, but you really shouldn't call it Boomer Consulting. But anyway, I'll read what he said. He said, change the messaging from the negative, such as hours worked, to the positives about the opportunity for lifelong learning, being a part of a unique ability team, adding value. So you were right. Growing financially and having multiple career opportunities when you're third in the profession. The return on investment. Yeah. So no,
I'm not 1 for 1. 1 for 1. Okay.
That is not it. That's archaic advice. All right.
All right, this guy, you would be tempted to say affirmative action hire, but he is male and he's old enough that he did not have his dick sucked in the past 10 years.
He's smart.
He's older. He's probably even older than me. I'm going to say this guy's legit, and he may not have the greatest advice, and I wouldn't be able to guess what his advice is, but it looks like he's seasoned. Looks like he's an actual accountant. He probably has an accounting background, and I'm going to think it's going to be I don't know. I don't think any of them are going to say higher pay. I think he's going to, I don't know what he's going to recommend. He's going to recommend making probably work from home, helping people get the education quicker and cheaper and more affordable, and kind of breaking down barriers. Employers could break down barriers to get more people in. I think that's what he's going to go.
He's legit. He's the CEO of the New York State Society of CPAs. So he is a
Oh,
CPA.
okay. All right. All
This
right.
guy's no dummy. He had a lot to say, but he said, I see relevancy as our key issue with starting salaries right there. That said, I
He
do think
what? Okay.
he's saying you got to pay us more. That said, I do think a holistic approach will ultimately bear the most fruit. I am supportive of the drive. Actually, Clary, I'm interested what you think about this. I am supportive of the drive to add accounting to the T of technology, but don't believe that alone will fix the problem. And he wants to put accounting as STEM. He wants to add
That's
it
not
to.
gonna. No, that's
I
not gonna
didn't
do
think,
anything.
no, I didn't think so either. However, he did say something smart in the next paragraph. He said, I'm extremely supportive of competitive salaries for those entering and staying in the profession, but I don't believe that alone will fix it either. And I certainly believe that continuing to focus on making our profession as
Equitable.
equitable, diverse, and inclusive as the
Oh, he
community. Yeah.
failed us. He
So
failed us.
he was so smart
He
until he had to say that.
Oh,
I
he
know.
lived up to the stereotype. Darn
Yeah,
it.
I was
Okay.
disappointed when I saw it. So I'm gonna have to write him off because you can't say that
No.
and it's not important.
And I'm 1 for 2. I was wrong about him.
I was wrong too, for what it's worth.
Okay. All right. Now
Um,
this gal.
this gal.
Boy, I'm not gonna waste your time having me zoom in. I can't tell if she's nerd or just care. I'm gonna say she has bland advice like the boomer. I'm not gonna say she's gonna go, well, we got to get more women in. She doesn't look like that type.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna assume she has no real background. I'm assuming just a general business degree. She's some kind of generic consultant, and her advice is going to be milky toast, tapioca, nothing tangible like pay more or anything that I mentioned before.
This is neutral to useless. She is the president of something called the Information Technology Alliance,
That's a
and this,
nonprofit, so it's touchy
yeah,
feely. All right, all
useless.
right.
She said, we must first change the educational focus from technical rules-based topics to more practical hands-on experience with real business problems, applied technology, and analytics.
What the fuck?
Okay,
Okay.
well, listen to this last part. We must attract well-rounded students with strong personal skills who come from diverse backgrounds. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you think they have to say it?
I think that they're trying to either virtue signal or they're really this stupid. I don't know.
Here's the whatever the president of the local chapter CPA society. I'm wondering if they have to say it.
I think you muted.
Like, are people this dumb now that
They don't have.
no, I'm good to go.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Go ahead.
No, they don't have to say it. They don't have to say it because we've heard it so many times before. I don't understand how that's gonna fix the talent problem. That's not gonna do a damn thing.
Okay.
Did a whole show on that. All right, now how about Mr.
He looks like an IT nerd.
Yeah.
And he's going to talk about technology. Now, he might have experience in IT, but he doesn't really know about accounting. And so he's going to be focused on software and technical upgrades and stuff like that. He is not going to say anything about diversity and inclusion.
You know what, man? I'm gonna read it and you'll be surprised.
Okay.
We could start by being more active at the high school level, educating the youth about what CPAs really do. There are a lot of myths and stereotypes that need to be overcome. Eliminate the 150-hour rule since there's no
Wow.
evidence that produces more quality accountants. Allow CPAs to get credit for internships or even running their own businesses.
Wow.
I love this. I would go so far as to deregulate the profession and rely on self-governance to administer entrance, quality, and sanctions for misconduct. I don't know about that last one, but the rest was pretty good.
He sounds like a radical libertarian. Yeah, this is my guy. I was fooled by the glass. I'm 1 for 4. I'm batting horrible, but so far that's the best advice I've heard.
Yeah, his name is Ron. He's a founder of something called Verisage Institute, but I like what he said there.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Now
Larry,
I got screwed over by the previous black guy, so and I'm also like, see, again, going visually, he looks like a conservative black man.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would it help if before you try to start guessing, I read to you what they are, like what their titles are and who they had?
Sure, let's do that. Okay, I like to guess but yeah, let's do that.
So his name is Okori Ramsey, and he's the chair of the AICPA and the Association of International Certified Public Accountants. So he's in the
legit.
industry. He knows. Yeah. So what do you think he had to say?
I think because he's an accountant and accountants have to be logical, I think he's going to give some pretty solid advice. Like, we need to not have ridiculous testing or educational standards. I mean, you could have good testing standards, but none of the ridiculous educational standards. I think simple recruitment. He's going to give some really good, simple, logical advice that we've been screaming from the bandstand for quite some time.
So he actually took the opposite approach, and this is more right-brained, like feels. I'll read it. He said, "We must own and change the narrative regarding our profession and why it's a great field to build a career. We must tell our own stories and help young people better understand what we do and how it is quite different than what they may perceive. If we do not tell our story, others will tell our story for us, and there is no one better than your friend, neighbor, local business leader that is working within the profession to share the impact and value of what we do to grow and support firms, businesses, and economies, domestically, internationally." Not a whole lot of tangible advice.
No, nothing. No, I'm failing at this physiognomy thing. None of these people look like what they're saying.
You know what? So there's 20 and we've done 5.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
gonna pick some better ones. Yeah. Let me
Okay,
find.
No.
She did have good advice, but she basically, I would have guessed she would have been like, a Karen, but she basically just said, look, target people who want a second career and tout the benefits of how you can get into it, which is kind of what I do on this channel. So I'm going to give her a little bit of credit for that. And she's VP of tax strategies.
All right, so she's in the field. Yeah.
I don't get how you can be VP of tax strategy and evangelism, but anyway. Okay, this one you're going to want to.
What's her title?
Rhonda Clark is the Executive Director, Association for Accounting Marketing. Okay, marketing, not accountant, marketing.
No, get out of here. This is a worthless, not HR, but a generalist marketing business bra, but it's a gal.
You'll get this one.
Or is she the one rah-rah feminism?
I'll just read the first two statements here. The accounting profession must adapt and evolve and reinvent itself. Fostering a more inclusive and diverse environment can help attract a broader range of and then she just, the rest of this is not worth anything. But the second I saw what she looks like with those problem glasses, I'm like, I know exactly what she's going to say.
Yeah. Well, I got a question that's stupid. All right. You want to attract a more diverse group of people, right?
Okay.
Doesn't offering more money? So I don't know. Do Hispanics and Black people and Asians like money?
Sure.
It would just seem to me like, well, why not offer more money? You're going to get, it's not like the Latinos like, oh, money? No, we don't like money. How dare you? You insult our community. I think you'll get a lot of people to apply if you offer more money.
And that's what the two guys, so I thought I had good advice. They said that. So, hey, what's up, Antonio? And yeah, common. The second they see the words diverse inclusion, you can ignore everything else.
Yep.
That they're saying. So, okay, Clary, this is Julianne St. Juste, president and CEO of NABA. I don't know what that is, but any guesses on what
does that say? Incorporated?
Yeah, incorporated.
So it is a business. This one I don't know. Some of these gals are smart business women. It's a private company. It's not a nonprofit. But I know this actually isn't fair. But Mandy Kaling, the gal who did the new Scooby-Doo, which is just racist, sexist slop. It's biasing me. It's biasing me because she looks like her, which it shouldn't, because I'm going to guess she's going to have a little bit of practical advice, but it's going to be spun towards women, because women of color. That's going to be my guess, but there might be some legit, because she has some real world working experience, it seems.
You kind of missed this one a little bit.
She
said, to address the shortage in the accounting pipeline, it's crucial to recognize the limitations of the 150-hour credit rule for becoming CPA.
Okay.
This rule was implemented without adequate consideration for equity, financial barriers, and the time commitments faced by underrepresented communities. So I missed that part. I knew.
So I was right on this.
You were right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you were right on that. Yeah.
See, now we've pointed that out before, and I think she's 100% right, though I think her intents are woke.
Yeah.
We have pointed out that, one, it is ridiculous to expect anybody to get 150 credit hours.
Stupid.
But if you are poor, which there is a correlation between minorities and poor, that is a much huger hurdle for them to go to cover if you have parents who can pay for college. My idea that no, you can test for it, period, full stop, no education. Right? You just can test for the CPA. That would get so many young people out of poverty. And that'd be the number one thing you could do to help minorities. So she's right, but she's doing it because I guarantee you, she's like, oh, it's people of minorities because it's really important. It's like, how about for everyone? Huh? How's that? Because it's the right thing to do.
She has the wrong reasons, but the right opinion, I guess, is what.
And solution, yes.
Solution, yeah. Okay, this is a dorky. His name is Terry Putney, managing director, Whitman Transition Advisors LLC. So he's a consultant, kind of. But any guesses as to what he felt should happen?
His advice is going to be putsy. It's going to be. It's not. I don't know. I'm going to guess it's going to be like the other guy. It's going to be ethereal, touchy-feely stuff. It won't be anything practical.
Man, you missed this one. He nailed everything, and I'll read it.
Really? Okay.
Clearly need to get rid of the 150-hour requirement for CPA eligibility. It makes no sense to me that we require an extra 30 hours of college credit without any requirement for what those hours consist of. It is an obvious, unnecessary barrier to entry. The profession's starting salaries are also not keeping up with alternative business school degrees that only require 120 hours of college credit. I think we are getting away with lower starting salaries through alternative sources for staff, such as offshoring, but I don't think that is sustainable in the long run. We also need to do a better job of overcoming the profession's reputation as a sweatshop career. Many firms no longer require significant overtime, but young people still think of the profession based on the way it used to be, with 80-hour work weeks being routine during busy season. He kind of missed the mark on that last thing. Like, it's still really busy during busy season. But he was mostly...
Yeah, he's the most empirical out of all of them. Okay, I thought he was going to be nerdy and just kind of wishy.
So did I. I played this game my own before I decided to do this, and yeah, I was wrong on some of these too. You know what? Let's skip her. This is feel. No. Let's see. Yeah, that's short and sweet. What do you think he had to say? Alan Kotlin, CEO for Kotlin Consulting Group.
He reminds me of Mr. Texas. I think he's going to be a straight shooter. He's going to give some advice, but there's going to be some platitudes at the end. Like and they cannot achieve the stars if they don't reach for the sky. Like he's a motivational speaker type.
It is. I think you nailed this one. I'll read it. I would begin by raising the entry-level starting compensation and migrate that increase throughout the ranks. I would eliminate the mundane and boring work and use AI bots as well as offshoring. Last point is, for superstars, I would accelerate their career path to partnership and eliminate seniority-based and/or lockstep programs. So he kind of did have that, rah-rah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I don't hit them all out of the park, but when I connect, they do go.
Yeah. Right. Gary Seamus, CEO, Winding River Consulting. No. He just says fix the 150-hour requirement.
Okay.
Short and sweet. Okay.
No, this one, no. That is the devil in disguise. No, this is going to be feminism, diversity, inclusion, touchy-feely vagina juice. This is good. And what's her title?
Gail Crosley is the president and founder of Crosley and Company. Okay, it is a company. It's not.
But like I created my company, Dick and Ass LLC, the Clary Dick and Ass Show. All right, no, this is just going to be feminism and Karen, and this is going to be the worst one of the entire group.
Well, I'll read it. Expand the definition of public accounting to include non-CPAs. This could start with the AICPA launching a non-CPA professional membership group and implementing it from there. That's not that useful. It could possibly lead to a credentialing program for non-CPAs and perhaps a path to CPAs for individuals who are interested. It would create an expanded pipeline, redefine an alternative career path to CPA, reconfigure workforce deployment, and otherwise lead the profession to solve many talent shortage issues.
No, I think she's right about that. I was 100% wrong about it. I think it's like having an officer candidate school. So if you go in enlisted, you could become an officer.
Yeah.
I think that's very practical. So I was 100% wrong about her.
Yeah. I guess my only bone to pick is that, you still need to... What she is saying, and I realize it's a blurb, but That's kind of harder than it sounds. Like, there's a lot involved that, is with public accounting because the SEC and all that relies on 10Ks and everything. So that's my only thing, is that you have to make sure it's lockstep with what CPAs do, at least in terms of integrity. So let me just do him real quick. Correct by offering a blended carrier. That's not that interesting. He's a tax guy who just said make it easier for tax people.
Okay.
So, all right, Clary.
Standard. Sorry, I have to go with the way I was trying to overthink some of these. Like, nah, look at his tie. This is going to be your standard affirmative action gal. Diversity and inclusion, women of color.
Kimberly Ellison-Taylor. So hyphenated name, not good.
No.
Founder and CEO of KET Solutions LLC. So it's a legit company. Okay?
No, it's not. Okay, Chad.
It's a company. It's a company,
right?
Yeah,
what does KET stand for?
Kimberly Ellison-Taylor.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Okay. All right, go on.
Okay. If I put aside census data, I would go back to where the decision is made on what careers seem interesting. For me, it was elementary school, but others, it may be 8th grade or at some point in high school. I would share consistently the unlimited possibilities of the profession by developing a cohort, an after-school program that promotes accounting. I would also get parents and school counselors involved. Consistency is key. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she's brilliant. I am horrible at this game. That's one of the best things ever. Get in at the school, say, look, parents and teachers involved in the kids with private industry. I stand corrected, Miss Ellison-Taylor. I salute you.
Yeah. Now, do I think you're going to be able to convince a lot of 8th graders that accounting is cool? No, but you can at least put it out there.
You could, or you could get the concept down that accountants make money.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah. I say my advice, because she's a consultant, let me consult. She needs to change her look. She looks so affirmative. No, she does. It's not because she's a black woman. It's because she's got that like dress. Like she looks like an affirmative action. She looks like she's going to be the one to deliver the diversity and inclusion seminar. She really does.
There's this horrible human being named Joy Reid on MSNBC. And, I got here last night. I was watching TV with my dad, and he put it on MSNBC for like 30 seconds. And I saw
mistakes in the story already, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, she had a pretty good idea. Claire, I think you should be able to get this one. His name is Randy. He's CEO and founder of EVP.
Hey, kids these days, you need to increase the credit hours to 200, and I need your kidney, and you have to come to work and community and working at the corporate culture.
He's a dork. What would a dork say? He's a real dork.
I don't know. Something anal retentive about the accounting profession.
Well, he has 2 primary strategies: improve private AI automation and expand the tasks assigned to non-certified professionals to support accounting in their work. For example, data analytics providing support for financial statements could be completed by a non-CPA.
He watched a lot of Star Trek.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, all right. So I thought Susan Coffey, who is the CEO of Public Accounting Association of International CPAs, she's a little bit old. She's probably in her like mid-50s, if you can tell by the picture.
Yeah, but she's also an attractive woman, so I would have thought Bipsy. But if she's in charge of the CPA, professional guild, I'm going to guess this is going to be a little bit more on spot. Although the other ones were too. Because there was the black guy who was in charge of the CPA Charter Society or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I should take a curveball and not go with my instinct. She is going to do rah females.
She's certainly rah, but not necessarily about females. She says, we need to stop focusing on what's wrong with our profession and start talking about what's right. We are an amazing profession that helps economies, communities, businesses, and individuals grow and thrive. The next generation is all about purpose, and we should be shouting from the rooftops and on every social media channel. This is a profession that makes a difference. That is useless. That's not going to attract. Yeah. No. So pretty useless. We're almost at the end here. God, he had a lot to say.
I think he's passionate. He's going to have a lot of insight, touchy-feely stuff, and he's going to have some practical stuff like the 150. He looks like he's the most excited about accounting here. I think he's going to have some good advice.
His name is Joe Woodard, CEO of Woodard. It doesn't say if it's a company, but he says, We must change the narrative to a focus on the outcomes that we are able to drive, and those outcomes must transcend compliance work, which is perceived to be a utility. An emphasis on financial measurements through more appealing than compliance, or though more appealing than compliance, is still not going to address the pipeline issue. To make the profession appealing to college students, advisory must be the defining quality of the profession. We must not be a community of professionals who do accounting work with a layer of advisory. We must be a community of professionals who do advisory with a layer of accountancy. Accounting will be exciting again once people realize that accounting professionals are the protectors of the small business journey, the mentors of small business owners, the guardians of individual wealth, and the transformers of lives. This realization must begin from within. Once accountants start driving these transformative outcomes, the rest of the world will clamor to join the cause.
It's like St. Paul bringing Christianity to the Romans.
Yes.
No, he's too much of an ideologue. No.
Yeah,
no.
I agree. But when I saw his picture, I thought he'd have way more practical advice. Let me just check that one. We only have two more, so let's start with Sandra Wiley, the president of Boomer Consulting.
Okay. No. This one is the feminist one. I take it back what I said of the other lady. This is the feminist one.
She actually, I'll just read it. Addressing the pipeline problem within our profession is not a matter of a single solution. It necessitates a comprehensive approach. This involves transitioning to advisory services, reforming our compensation systems, reducing overall workload hours, embracing innovation through AI automation, and implementing various other strategies. A pivotal issue lies in reshaping the narrative surrounding the accounting profession today. Traditionally, we have tended to emphasize long hours, eventual income potential, and sporadic client interactions as our selling points. Frankly, this message fails to inspire the interest in our field. It's time for a shift in perspective. Let's celebrate our daily significance to clients, highlighting the flexibility of our work hours, showcase our innovative spirit, and underscore the exciting and rewarding life that one can build as an accounting and advisory professional. All useless. Completely useless.
And she's also related to Boomer Consulting. So it sounds like whoever wrote this article grabbed their 20 best friends who all have no-name consulting firms. Like, there's no accountants in here. I thought there'd be some accountants. And there are a handful, but most of these people are, most of these people are consultants. Where are the accountants?
I was disappointed as well that there were not more. And now there were a few CPAs like the ones above, but yeah, too much marketing and too much Boomer crap. This is the last guy, and his name is Donnie Shimamoto, founder and managing director of Enterprise Technologies, LLC. Kind of a lame
AI tech. He's a nerd. I thought he'd be an accountant nerd. He's a tech nerd. It's going to be AI outsourcing, streamlining software, that kind of stuff.
He had to say, I believe a rebranding of the entire profession is needed. We need to become less CPA-centric and embrace all accounting disciplines as well as non-accounting disciplines. I believe if we show people how important of a role we play in helping people achieve the American dream and also ensuring that corporate America makes more ethical, mindful decisions, that we can capture not just the mind, but the hearts of the next generation. I'm sorry, but that's nothing.
It's like going to church.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, what's it? Physiognomy.
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 Did not work here.
Did not work.
Did not work at all.
You know, when I played this game sitting on the tarmac waiting to take off, I missed out on most of them. Kind of like, well, you did, but
yeah. Can I say just how horrible most of that advice was?
Most of it was horrible. Yeah. There were a few people that did have good advice that didn't look like they would have had good advice, but they did.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think your channel and you specifically, with my help, one, do you think we get more people interested in accounting than all those people in that article ever will?
I mean, I hope so. We're trying to tell it like it is.
I tend to think we do. How do we get more people like Darkman Jeff and Parker Franklin and all the other gang? How do we get them into getting into accounting?
I think it's because we provide practical solutions that don't involve spending money, going to school. You know, we're providing alternative paths. Is that it? Or
no, you sound like you're describing. It's one word. It's one word.
Money.
Money. We say you can go.
Is it entrepreneurship or is it money?
He said we got to change the culture with the good. Show them a path. A path to what? Money.
Money.
With a heavy dose, I would say, of employment freedom where you can work remotely. You have this invaluable skill, invaluable. I think we have sold it on its practical uses to advance your life. You got to be proud about helping the local community and entrepreneur. We're the guardians of the bookkeeping balance sheet. No, I think young people today are so sick and tired of going to school and being lied to. And when, young people under 35, I think it's just like, look, this is practical. Here's how you get the money. Like, Chad, okay, you're a weirdo. You actually are excited about accounting. You like accounting.
I like a lot of aspects of it, yeah.
Right. But most people, we don't say, oh, it's going to give you purpose and meaning. It's like, no, this is how you never have to answer to a Karen ever again. You can make probably pretty easily 6 figures in about 3 to 4 years' time.
You can work from anywhere.
Anywhere, exactly. And I think that is how, I don't know how else you're supposed to get people to work for any industry or profession. It's money and freedom and leave me the F alone.
I mean, in the case of tax, there's months where you're really not doing anything. I mean, you still have to stay involved with your business, but you can go on vacation. Sure.
Right. I think that just being honest about it, and it's these other people, it sound like about at least 2/3 of them, they are confused that accounting should be your point and purpose in life. Like, that's one of the most important things. Like, no, it's just
they miss the mark with all of that. It's a job. We want to make money. This is not about a greater purpose. If you want to attract people to the industry, it's about, like you said, it's about money, and I think freedom too. But yeah. A couple of quick things here. Because I think you would want to. Common says that Clary got me to decide to get into accounting, if that gives you guys any solace. And I didn't know this about Atham, that accounting was actually his second choice. I did not know that, Atham.
Could still be. It wouldn't take that much to learn.
It wouldn't. And I would, if it ends up being you want to go into tax, I'd bring you and I'd take you under my wing. But you can do better than that, Atham. You'll get a job in your field.
If you had a course available, you could get it.
Yeah. And then Harvey, our IRS agent,
agent in field,
accounting is basically deregulated. Accountants only have to be licensed for a very narrow scope of accounting work. He's not necessarily wrong about that. So,
Harvey, do you hate the hated Brian Kim as much as Chad does? Like, do you have dreams of murdering Brian Kim in his sleep?
Harvey might not know who Brian Kim is, but and then from Monero Mateo, he says, professors should encourage entrepreneurship. Didn't have one professor in all my college mentioned the opportunity. Big miss.
Why? Okay, but professors aren't real people. They're not hardworking men and women. They don't even work real jobs, let alone entrepreneurship. That's what they've never left school. You're talking to an adult child.
Probably the most tragic part of my MBA program was how so few of, really none, like he said, none of the professors were like, you don't have to just work, for a corporation. They could actually have encouraged us to go out on our own. But so, all righty, a couple more super chats, and man, I think that's all she wrote. Any final thoughts about these people?
It was pretty bad advice. Well, I mean, okay, these aren't boomers anymore. They're our generation. That was horrible advice. Horrible.
There was some bad advice on that.
There was some real bad advice there. Yeah, and there was some bits of practical help, but it'll be up to what concerns me, if that's the advice that's getting written about now, it's going to be decades before the accounting profession, like whoever, the CPA society or the CPA board, it's going to be a decade before they make any tangible changes for people to sit for that. It's going to be a long time.
It's why before we even started, I'm like, we've talked about this. What are your ideas? Those were pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we didn't hear more of that from these folks.
But these aren't exactly brilliant ideas. We can't find employees. Like, pay more. Or turnover's high. Pay more. We can't find employees. Stop requiring to get master's degrees. It's just train them. It's very simple.
I'm the boss, says Chad. I got an internship from just taking what I learned from videos. Well, man, that makes me feel good. Thank you. So we are doing some good here, man. You making me do this channel has done some good.
I made you do the channel. I thought you wanted to do the channel.
You suggesting I do the channel. I shouldn't say you encouraging me to make the channel. All righty. Well, just a few remaining super chats here.
Ray John, $2 Canadian. Who's the better sports ball quarterback, Brady or Montana?
I think we should let Clary field that one.
I think Brady.
Brady had more Super Bowl championships.
Yeah, that's what I'm going on. He's the best, right?
Yeah, he's probably the best. Montana was known as the best for a long time, but I think Brady's probably the best. Yeah. This is an interesting one from Mariah West.
Oh, Mariah West. Yeah, she was going to go marry
Mr.
Texas. Yes,
I think
but
she has a boyfriend.
She has a boyfriend now. It broke
Yeah.
Mr. Texas's heart.
Yeah.
$2. Thoughts on MBA versus Masters in Accounting, Chad?
You know, you only need to get a master's. If you're going to stick to this 150 credit hour rule, just get the Masters of Accountancy. You don't need nobody needs an MBA. Nobody.
Masters of Accountancy all the way.
Out of curiosity, Clary, can you think of any situation where somebody might get an MBA where it would make sense?
Only if your employer was going to pay for it and they were going to promote you and give you a lot more money if you did. And we have to talk about a lot of money because that's 2 years of full-time work. The MBA is just, you should not only be paid to like your tuition, you should be paid time to go and study. But otherwise, no, the MBA is just a complete waste of time. Just a complete waste of time.
Man, biggest regret in my entire life. And I was with Cuddleworks for almost 3 years. The MBA was more of a regret. Okay. Yeah. Looks like Clary has to get a.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. We hear you.
Never mind, it's unplugged. So
I'll read this one. Quick thing. Shout out to San Marcos Cafe and Beer Creek Brewing in Santa Fe. Guess where I was earlier today?
I'm going to guess you were over there.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Antonio. All right. And then this last one from King Crab.
King Crab, $2. It's simple. Pay more, less BS, remote, less HR. Yeah.
Yeah.
You require kids go to school for 17 years minimum. And then 19 ideally. And you wonder why people are just throwing in the towel? Get the hell out of here. Absolutely. Get the hell out of here. It's not that.
It's disgraceful, man. And I guess when I read this article, I had my hopes up, saw some pictures, and my hopes, were dashed. But then some people, they released some kernels of good advice in here. So that was really all I had, man. Any final thoughts on this entire thing?
No, just I would say, to advance our conversation of the advice we give to people, I would almost say the CPA isn't worth it. Depending on the sitting requirements, especially if you are single and you don't have children, and you might as well, the enrolled agent, just being a good bookkeeper, being a good accountant, you almost don't need to get the CPA. So until they make it possible, I think generations today and into the future, it's like, yeah, no, you know what? I'm not going to be your CPA. It's just not worth it. And for the love of God, don't work for the Big Four.
I think I've said this before. The biggest thing about the CPA designation, certification, whatever, is it's marketing, because everybody should know what a CPA is. Oh, you got to get your tax done. CPA. The word needs to get out that it's not just CPAs who do your taxes, it's EAs. It's those who have worked in the field. You don't have to have a CPA to get your taxes done. So it's just marketing. And I agree that a CPA benefits me, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas to you, Bacon. That was all I had. Clary, thank you so much. I know this was late. I appreciate it. I'm actually in your former time zone, and now you're in a later time zone.
I'm in the later time zone. Yeah, that's right. I've been getting 9 hours of sleep at night, so I'm wide awake. I've been snoozing away like an old man. It's been wonderful.
I had so much caffeine today, I'll never get to sleep. So, but thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. We'll get your super chats, and you guys, thank you so much for hanging around and for the super chats. I probably will not do another stream before the end of the calendar year, but maybe if there's time, maybe.
And if we were to do a podcast, when would we do it?
We would do it
soon.